Hi there, this is Linda and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. In this video, I'm putting together my project life for the week of March 27th through April 2nd, 2023. And this is the final week of March, so I'm going to be working with the March Stories by the Month kit from Ali Edwards. And I have an insert this week, so I'm actually going to try to use up a lot of this kit. So let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, so you can probably tell I have a ton of photos this week. I also worked on my spreads a little bit out of order because I had just decided to do the spread that came after this before this one. So I have my page protector styles set already, and I have more 3x4 pockets than I typically have. And because of that, I think that's one reason, but I also just had a lot going on this week. So what I decided to do was I pulled over this page protector, and I'm actually just going to trim it down because I don't want another full-size 9x12 page protector, because then it would just look like there were 2 weeks here. But I'm going to trim it down so that it is the 6x12 size. And I could have just found like 6x12 ones or a 12x12 and cut it down, but I used this 9x12 because it's got all the 3x4 pockets, which is what I wanted, and then it has the holes in the right spot. And I had a bunch of these, so it just made sense to use one of those. For this, though, I'm thinking I want to include just 6 photos on it. And so I'm working with the March Stories by the Month kit from Ali Edwards. And I think because I'm using so many inserts and stuff, I might be able to use like all of the cards from this kit. I don't have the stamp right here. I pulled that out, and I've already pulled out the 3x8 card because I'm using that. I'm using those in my one little word this year. But beyond that, I have the whole kit here. So the first thing I'm going to do is select my title card. Because I'm using this style page protector, I need a 4x6 for my title card. These are my 4x6 options. Usually there's one that's a bit more designed for a title card. This clearly doesn't work. This one I feel like works more for a journaling card. It could be a title card, so I'm using this one. Now this is a big space for the dates, but I'm going to use my mega date stamp here from Studio Calico. This thing is a beast to turn. I'm gonna try here. Yeah, I'm gonna need to like do this with like fabric here for my shirt. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go get like an oven mitt or something to turn this so I don't break my hand. But actually the numbers I think are easier. Yeah, there we go. March 27th. And then I'm going to have to get to April 2nd. So I'm going to have to stamp this, but that is much larger. It'll fill that space. So that works for there. And then one of the things this week that was kind of like the biggest thing of the week is my daughter and I went to Accepted Students Day at the college that she has chosen to attend, which is University of Albany. And so I'm going to kind of tell that story on this 4x6 card, and I have a couple of photos to go along with it there. I have another one here, but I think I'm going to put that on the insert because I was looking at this card, and here's my thought. I want to cut these out and put them to tell 6 stories on this insert. So every other, and I'm going to use these tags. So there's these tags came in this kit. There's a ton of them. I'm just kind of amazed by how many there are in this kit. So there's, let's see, 4 of the teal, 2 pink, 2 orange, 2 green, 2 red, and 2 yellow. Which actually these would be pretty fun in my week in the life because there's red, orange, yellow, green, blue, pink. There's just not purple. Of course, there's never purple, you guys, never purple. But I think I'm going to use the teals because there's 4 of them, and maybe that was an error. Maybe there were only supposed to be 2, but I need, so I can go like this and put them in the pockets. And I'm not sure yet if I want it just like floating in the pocket or how I want to do that, if I want to adhere it somehow. I was originally thinking I might adhere it on here and crop this transparency piece down, but I'm not sure I like that because the back side will look like this. And I kind of want to be able to use the back, although I can see like the gold's not on there. I could put 2 of them back to back that are the same color and do this and maybe put this in the middle like that. You know, there are so many of these. Then I would have to do 3 different colors rather than all teal. So I could do like 2 pink, although on the green that might look weird. 2 pink, let's see, 2 teal and 2 yellow like this. So that's kind of cute. And then I still have all of these left over. And then I would put this in the middle. I don't know, that looks so busy though. I'm still kind of liking the double, and then maybe putting just like a transparency piece in there. What I might do is just crop this as that piece I cut off, crop these down and adhere the tags onto each one and slip them into the pocket. So I'm thinking that that's what I'm going to end up doing. Just putting my tray over here. Just going to slide this all over so that I'm making sure everything's on camera here. And then, so I'm going to cut these out and then put them on the tags like that. And it'll be 3 on each side. And then in the gaps here, I'm going to put photos. So I was trying to think of what photos went with these. So let's see. I have this one for reading. It's my book, my current book. And then, so belonging, I was thinking I was going to talk about my daughter finding her college. And loving, I think I want to talk about how I've been playing pool lately. Eating tacos. We have $2 Taco Tuesdays. Watching, I have a story for watching, but I don't have a photo. So I'm just going to put like a random photo that doesn't have a story. Maybe this one, or I might put this one because I was also eating this. And then what was the last one I said? Listening. Listening, I also have a story, but I don't have a photo for it. So I need 6 photos here. Thinking that might be, well, I think I want to put this one of me and pumpkin and then leave these. So then over here on my main spread, I have a few more photos to include. So I want to include them on this one. Maybe put summer here. Put this like that. Something like that. And then I have my 3 things for this month. I'm going to put this right here. I have a currently for some currently stories. So actually I'm going to put this one here because these 3 have that same background color and I don't want them touching. This is white. And then here, this one is Right Now I See. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with that card yet. And then finding, I think I'm going to write like joy or something in there. I don't really have anything specific, but I think that that would work. And that uses up all of the cards. And then let's see, let's go through the chipboard here. So there's also these little, in the kit here, it also came with these labels for the stickers this time. So let me just go through the kit. So we have the tags, which we've already used some. This I'm deciding I'm not going to use because I think it'll be too busy. This is very, very cute, but doesn't really tailor itself well to Project Life. If all you do is Project Life, I think you could use this. You could cut each of these out, and like the biggest one here would fit in a 4x6 pocket. And you could put each one on top of like these smaller ones. I would put them on top of photos, the larger ones on top of maybe patterned paper. And you could use them to tell all of your stories in a week of Project Life. So it does work, but I think it's so simple to keep it as a 6x8 and punch the holes. That's probably what I'm going to do with that. Then more basic labels. I mean, you can't go wrong with these. I'm not sure if I need them because I also have these labels, but we will see. I'm going to just put them here. And then let's look at the chipboard pieces. So the chipboard pieces are falling out of the backer. So I hadn't actually looked at them yet. Because you couldn't really see them in the package. So let's see what I have here. I was thinking like, I kind of wanted to put one of these circles like in my coffee cup like that, like, right? Isn't that fun? But let's see. I like a lot of these, but I want to kind of lay out the mirror image of this right here. like this. Because it's hard when you're working on two sides of a page protector like this because you can't kind of lay it out. If I had an extra one, I could put it there, but I'm gonna have to just eyeball it. And these are like mirrored because it's the back, right? So let's see, belonging is pink. So I wanna put that on the pink. I'm gonna put this one of my daughter. Eating is orange for the tacos. And then, let's see, watching or listening and watching don't have a story. So watching can be maybe there. Actually, I'm gonna put the eating here so that the watching can go like that and it'll have two food like that. And then reading is yellow, so that'll go there. And then this is loving. And then the last one is listening, doesn't really have a story. But I'm actually gonna switch these two because this photo has a person and this photo has a person. So I wanna kind of space out the people versus the photos of objects because I think it looks a little more balanced when you don't have all your people clumped together and all your objects clumped together, if that makes sense, hopefully. I'm gonna toss this in my trash. Okay, now that I have everything laid out, knowing that these are gonna get cut out on those, which I'm gonna do on fast forward, I'm just going to kind of, let's see. So I have space on here. I'm thinking I could put like this or something right there. Or maybe I'll put this here and do the stamping there. And then just happy, embracing it. Put that right there on my rainbow books. March moments. Maybe the cleaning. Highs and lows. I think I want to put this for like maybe the coffee. Or not the coffee, that, and put, yes, this. And then I have these like shapes. So with the shapes, I like to put word phrase strips on top of these. So I think I'm gonna put this one on my cat here. And then maybe I'll just add some details on there. I do want one in here. I'm not sure where to put the highs and lows. So I'm trying to like use this entire kit pretty much. Highs and lows. Maybe I'll put that right here. I'm gonna put this there. I can tell a story. Details right now. That one. Yes, this can be my coffee. And then this last one I can put right there. Okay. So I've used all of the chipboard. I've used all of the cards. I've used some of the tags. I don't think I'm going to use these, but this is really kind of crushing this kit, you guys, which I love. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put you guys on fast forward, get this stamping, get these cut out and adhered down, and start, just getting everything put together. The one thing I have to say that I don't love about this page protector that I think I'm just gonna shift it around now. So when you're looking at this page protector alone, I've got photos lined up here and cards lined up here, and I don't like that balance. But I do want this card, which is going to be about the story of Admitted Students Day, to go with these two photos. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move this here and move this photo here and this photo here and then this photo here. Now, I liked this one originally being like in the middle of the page because you would think like that's balancing the two 4x6 photos, putting a 4x6 card in the middle. But this looks a little bit more balanced because I have the cards split up and they're not all touching. Now I could do this even more to get more like white space here and more darker colors over here, but I think it just depends on how it shakes out and how these look once they're fully filled in. So I think that is good. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put you guys on fast forward and get this one put together.
Okay, so I feel like there was a little bit more to this spread than a lot of my Project Life spreads have been lately because I have this insert, and so there's just a few more steps, but it was pretty simple to put it together. So I started with that title card, and as I said in my intro, using that mega rolling date stamp is such a pain because it's so hard to turn, but it comes out looking so nice. So every time I do it, I think, oh my gosh, I need to do this more, but it does hurt my hand so much. On this card here, I pulled over an alpha stamp from my stash. I believe it's from Studio Calico. And I'm stamping out the word joy for finding joy in March. This card from the kit was a little bit rough for me because I wasn't entirely sure what to put there, but I thought that joy would be a good word because that's kind of what I do with my project life is look for little bits of joy in life to kind of highlight. I'm not fake in my project life. I will include, the real and the hard stories, but I do use it as a means to practice gratitude and to seek out those little bits of joy in life. So I kind of like it as sort of just like a filler card, but a filler card that actually adds something to the spread. So I went ahead and cut out these circles from this 4x6 card. None of my circle punches worked with them because I think they were probably like 1.75 because the 1.5 was too small and the 2-inch was too big, but it worked out hand cutting them. They're not perfect, but it's fine. I left a little bit of white space outside of the colored rim just to kind of allow it to be a little bit purposefully wonky and not cut away any of the color. So then what I'm doing here is cutting down pieces of the extra part of the page protector that I cropped off to make this insert, and I'm using that to adhere the tags on and the labels on top of the tags. Now, I'm not adhering the back tag onto it yet because I want you to be able to see the spread laid out as I'm working on it, but I will end up adhering the 2 tags back to back with that piece of transparency in between. And this is a good trick because you can't see the transparency when it's inside the pocket of the other transparency because it's just more of the plastic. But what it does is it holds this tag steady, which is too small to sit in the pocket on its own. So it won't go anywhere. It won't fall out of the pocket. It won't fall over. And it will just stay right centered as you place it. So I love doing that as a way to add some smaller elements into those pockets and have that little bit of transparent piece that's poking through. So I wrote down on these, the little tiny stories that I wanted to tell for this week it was eating, watching, listening, reading, belonging, and loving. And to come up with the stories for these, because I didn't plan it during the week, first of all, I picked to use this card in this way because I was able to come up with stories ahead of time that I knew I would be able to include. So if you want to use this card in a week and you don't have a story for one of them and you just can't come up with it, I would suggest either tossing that one circle, and that's fine, just having 5, or just save it for another week. So I was sure that I was able to find some stories to include on all 6 of those circles before I set out with this design plan. And then only 4 of them have photos. The other 2, I was able to fill in the watching and the listening just from my memories from this week, from what I wrote down in my planner and from what I remembered happening just based on, the stories and the photos that I took. And this really isn't that long ago. I put the spread together maybe like 2 weeks after the week when I lived it. So I am still using my memory in addition to my notes to kind of remember what happened. So this longer card here that says remember, I stamped on it Accepted Students Day with my favorite alpha stamp set that I picked up on Amazon, and I will link that down in the description box below. That is my go-to stamp set. I use it pretty much all the time. I'm sure you have seen me use it before if you've watched any of my previous videos because I use it in a lot of my planners and journals and project life and other scrapbooking projects. But I'm just telling the longer story here of my daughter's Accepted Students Day. So we went to Accepted Students Day on the weekend, on the Sunday this week at her college that she has decided to attend, which is thankfully our local state college. So I'm very happy about that because that's where I wanted her to go from the beginning. And it took her a long time to come around and actually realize that that was the best fit for her. So we're both very happy with that choice. But this was just the story of us going to this kind of all-day event that was for accepted students and their parents to kind of learn a little bit more about the school and the program and some of the details like housing and classes and clubs and all of that stuff. So I told that story, that longer story on that card there. And then I went back and underlined all of my text. I don't always underline my text. In fact, I don't usually underline my handwritten text. It's a style that I think I picked up from Allie Edwards. She does it sometimes. And for whatever reason, I felt like doing it this week. And then once I was halfway through the card, I kind of wished I hadn't started it, but once you start, you kind of have to stick with it. And I didn't end up doing it on my other cards in this spread, and it looks totally fine. I took a little break from writing from that one journaling card just because my hand was starting to get tired, and I decided to move on to some of the embellishing, and then I go back to the journaling. So what I'm doing is I went through my stash and pulled out some word phrase strip stickers, and I'm just picking some that kind of go with their pretty general sentiments, and I'm adding them to some of the chipboard shapes. So like I said in the beginning of this video, I'm trying to kind of crush this kit. So I end up using all of the chipboard shapes from the kit, as well as all of the pocket cards, which I'm very thrilled about. But some of these shapes were just decorative circles. They didn't have any text or anything on them. And I tend to not use those ones as frequently when it just has a pattern, because to me, it's not a completed embellishment. And you might like it as is, as just a pattern. But for me, I want something else on it. So what I did was I was adhering a few of the word phrase strips on top of those circles. And it ends up working pretty well as a way to kind of customize the embellishment. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. After I did that, I decided to use more of those word phrase strips on a few of the other photos, but I didn't go back and add that yet. Instead, I went back to my journaling. So on this currently card here, I just told 5 little stories from this week that weren't told elsewhere, and you can see my sticky note there. I filled out that sticky note before I started working on this spread. Around the same time I picked out and printed my photos, I pulled over my Hobonichi cousin, which I use to kind of keep track of my stories each week that I'm going to tell in my project life. And if you're curious to see more about that, I will link my most recent Hobonichi cousin video for you up at the eye. And so what I do is I just keep a track of little stories during the week as I'm living it. So then when I'm ready to put this album together, I can go back and reference it to get an idea of those stories. And I write them out on that sticky note. And then I can use it to check off the stories as I add them to my spread. On this card right here, this is the March 3 Things card, and these are a repeated element in the Stories by the Month kit this year, and they are the reason why I am putting the Stories by the Month kit as the final spread of each month, not the starting spread of each month or in the middle of the month, because what I'm using this 3 Things card for is to tell 3 highlights of that month, and it's kind of a summary of the month rather than the week, even though it is in a weekly spread. And I did something similar last year because the Stories by the Month kit had a similar card. I think it was gratitudes last year. I think it was like 5 gratitudes. So this year it's just 3 things. So rather than doing gratitudes, I'm just doing like 3 biggest stories of the month or general themes of the month, which I think has been really nice to kind of have that recap and that reflection, because while I'm filling out that card, you couldn't see me here on the screen, but what I was doing was flipping through my Project Life album and all the spreads I put together already for this month, and I was using that to kind of guide myself to determine what stories I wanted to include. So it was kind of like a recap of my project life, and I just enjoyed that process. I enjoyed the process of reliving my memories as I'm putting together this album. And I think that that's one of the reasons why this is probably my favorite scrapbooking project that I do, because it is just so easy for me to continue doing it week after week. And it's usually the project that I gravitate towards first when I want to sit down and scrapbook. I tend to want to work on Project Life. And that's probably why you see so many of these process videos from me pretty consistently, and some of my other projects do fall off. But I do get back to them, and I will be sharing some other scrapbooking related projects here soon. So the final thing for the spread, we're adhering these tags back to back and sliding them into the pockets. I did consider adding a little bit of thread to the hole punch at the top of each of these tags, but I decided against it. I thought the spread was already pretty busy, but I think that would have added some fun texture. I also considered stitching them down to that transparency, but I decided against that because I didn't want the thread poking through the back. I didn't want like the rough side to show on the back side. So that is a look at the completed spread, and you can see both the front and the back here. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.